Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. So I recently had to change my passwords and I couldn't get into my Facebook account, so I'm sorry for the delay, but here we are. We're also in the middle of holiday season, so I don't know about you all, but as time goes by, they all begin to blur. At least that's what's happening to me. So rather than having just Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, all the other things, it's like the holiday. The holiday season is upon us, and there's so much to do. I have some online and in-person classes coming up. I've got a holiday craft fair, and I've got, the gift giving and the food and all the things. So here we are right in the midst of it. If you can relate to that, let me know. What are your priorities today? I thought it would be a good day to take a little break from everything and just get centered by doing a little bit of creativity. So I've got out my watercolor sketchbook, which we haven't been using for a bit, well, I would say maybe a month or so, maybe longer. And so I need to catch up on some seasonal things. So right now, let's find a page. We started doing autumn. I think I want to do another autumnal scene before we get into the holidays or winter. So I'm gonna skip this spread here. There's my pear. I'm gonna move ahead to this spread, and what I have on my table here today is this gorgeous branch of holly, and look at all the berries on there. So not every year is a good berry year, but apparently this year is, at least for this particular specimen. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up in front of me where I can get a good look at it. And I'm thinking a Christmas border. So what I'd like to do is incorporate a lot of different botanical specimens that are kind of wintry and symbolic of the holidays. So I'm thinking holly, mistletoe, Christmas roses, maybe some evergreen, some balsam or spruce, and maybe even a pine cone or two. But I'm going to start with holly. So for this, I'm going to grab a pencil. So I've just got a number 2 pencil, and it sure looks like it's got lots of little tooth marks in it. Gee, I wonder where those came from. And I've got my watercolor brushes. Off to the side here, I've got my 3 watercolors. Okay, so yellow, red, and blue. I'm just using a limited palette, and that way all my colors will harmonize perfectly. And if you'd like to learn more about watercolor painting, please click the link below above for sign up, and that will take you to Dandelion Cottage notes. I've got my words all mixed up today. That will take you to notes from Dandelion Cottage, which is my newsletter, and I'll be letting you know about what I have coming right up. You can also go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and go to the Watercolor Card Club page there, and see for yourself what we do, some samples, and how to sign up for that. Okay, so I'm thinking a decorative border, just very straightforward all the way around, 4 sides, maybe some little extra something in the center here. But for the sake of the camera, I'm going to begin over here because that's just going to be easier for you to see what I'm doing. And I don't want to go too close to the edge of the page. So let me check and make sure you can see and hear me. And that looks fine. And there's Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Are you getting busy for the holidays? And also the other thing is winter. We had snow last night, and so there's a little dusting of white outside my windows all around, and I still have outdoor work to do. I don't have everything squared away for winter yet, so I know this snow isn't going to last. It'll melt probably by the end of the week, and I've got to get out there and move some outdoor furniture and flower pots and things like that. So lots of things piling up. Alrighty, so I'm going to do this corner, and I'm going to begin with just a light sketch. And I'm looking at my beautiful specimen here, and it's gorgeous berries. And I'm not going to make it too big. Just adding some of the leaves. And as always, this is a very rough sketch. It's just enough for me to get started, because as I continue with the painting, I will continue to refine it. So I just want to kind of get my main features established, so that they're within relationship to one another. So if you ever played pool, you know that it can be helpful to visualize the path that the ball is going to take, the billiard ball is going to take on the table. And I always think of shooting pool when I'm sketching, because I'm thinking of those points. For instance, there's a berry here, and where the berry, say down here, is in relation to it. So sort of forming a triangle to triangulate to get everything in its proper position relative to one another. And then of course all of that is affected by the overall design. So how do I want to shift things over just a little, maybe to make a more pleasing arrangement, and how am I going to fill the space that I'm actually working on, and all of those sorts of things. Now I also have this very nice stem, and that sort of is peeking in and out amongst the berries, and as it continues closer to the main stalk, it gets a little bit thicker, so I can show that. Okay, and later I'll come back and maybe I'll add some things like the balsam, the mistletoe, the Christmas roses, and that sort of thing. So this is not a very formal design in that it is following some kind of a geometric pattern. It's just going to be a kind of a loose combination of nature study and design. So I'm going to go ahead now and zoom you in. See if I can, there we go. All right, so there's my little corner of some holly. And I'm going to just paint it in 3 steps. I'm going to tackle it with a light wash, then a medium wash, and a darker wash. So I'm just thinking in terms of my values and various tones. And that's something that I talk a lot about in the Watercolor Card Club, is a lot about values. So if you are new to painting and you're not quite sure what values are and how to use them, then you might want to look into joining us, because that is one of the fundamentals of creating art, and you really need to have a basic knowledge of that. All right, so I've mixed up some dark green, kind of approximated the color of the holly leaves, and I'm just going along here, and I'm being careful to leave a little bit of white on my leaf for the highlights. And do you hear that rustling? That is that very bad kitten. I have to go take a quick look to see what she's gotten into. I have a lot of boxes of supplies in my studio right now as I get ready for the holiday craft fair, and this is of extreme interest to Circe. So I have to keep an eye on her before she runs away with something that I need. I have a hutch that was my mother's, and underneath it are all kinds of little balls and furry mice and all the little things. She's gotten into my orchid plants, and in the orchid mix there are these little round balls that they use for creating the medium to provide lots of airspace for the roots, and she loves those things. And so I hear her early in the morning rolling around on the wood floor these balls, and if I try to grab it, she picks it up in her mouth and she runs away with it and then continues in another spot. And she thinks it's hilarious that I would chase her around the house and try to get those things away from her. Alright, so there's a few leaves. I'm going to go after my berries. Now these berries are a beautiful, beautiful true red, but I'm going to begin with a little bit of yellow in my red. And they have a lovely highlight on them. So I want to make sure I capture that. And I should probably switch to my smaller brush for the berries, so I think I'll do that. Let's just finish this one up. Anyone traveling for Thanksgiving? I noticed that on the news they were talking about there was more travel going on this year than in quite a while. So that's probably due because of the pandemic, and now everybody's feeling a lot more comfortable traveling and being around people. Do you all have travel plans, and are you flying? Or maybe you're already where you plan on spending your Thanksgiving. Okay, well, it's starting to look like a Christmas decoration. You know, all of these beautiful specimens and nature studies can easily be used to decorate a little handmade ornament, a gift card, Christmas cards, all the things that you might be interested in making. And when you have a sketchbook like this, you can just go back to the page with your nature study on it and use that as your reference or as your inspiration if you're looking for ideas on what you might want to paint. Okay, so there's the beginning of my berries. Now for the stem, it is a very, very dark brown. So I'm going to start with a violet mixture. So I'm just taking my red and my blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that to neutralize that violet tone. So that's giving me a kind of a warm brown, a little bit warmer than I want it right now. Okay, here we go. And for this, I want to pay particular attention about how the leaves and the berries attach to the stem. So a little bit more closer observation. And I don't want to take that too far over here because I don't know what's going to be next. So I want to make sure I have I leave a little area for the addition of my next subject. So I'm just going to kind of soften that and let that fade away. Like so. All right, now if I go back to that violet mixture a little bit of yellow, make it a little bit darker. Get the shadow side, and then using the very, very tip of my brush, I can just attach these berries. And let's see what these are doing over here. Okay. All right, we're almost there. I'm just going to go back into my leaves now. So I'm going to mix up a stronger, darker mixture of green. And I'll start to pick out some of the features. So for instance here, get that point going in the right direction and indicate the center vein. So there we go. Same here. Okay. The brush I'm using now is a number 4, and I'm going to say that this holly sprig measures just a little over 4 inches. So let's see how close I am. So you see that 4 inches. I don't know if you can see the ruler or not, but that's right at 4 to give you an idea of the size that I'm working here. So it's very small, and I typically work on the small size side anyway, but for these very short videos, of course, to make sure that I don't keep you here all day long, I do tend to work a little bit smaller just so that you can get a sense of how to begin. And then, of course, you can carry on for however much longer you wish. All right, now this leaf is in shadow, so I'm going to go ahead and indicate that. If you're interested, if one of the things that you're struggling with, that you don't know exactly what to do in terms of shading something, where to apply shadow, how to shade something, the movement of light, all of those things are of the most importance and are things that I talk about all the time in class. So if that's something you're curious about, would like to learn more about, don't forget to please go to dandelioncottagedesign.com and look for the Watercolor Card Club, and all the information will be there to help you get signed up and ready for class. We do a new subject each month. It's always changing, and in January, which is right around the corner, I'm going to be starting the new year with some very basic lessons for beginners. If you have any questions at all about that, just let me know. Send me a message or an email, whatever, and I will do my best to take you through it and help you get started. And these classes are for anybody. You do not have to have any previous experience. All you need is a love of watercolor and a desire to improve your work. And lovely group of people. You'll be inspired by all the other folks in the class, and you'll discover that you have a lot of friends there very quickly. Right, so I'm going back into the berries again, increasing my color a little bit. So I've got my lights and my middle tones established. I've got my shadows indicated. Smudge that a little bit. I'm just going to blot that away. Let's see, I have some folks here, and it looks like they're having a nice conversation. So hey Kelly, hey Beverly, and Kelly's not feeling well. Oh boy, not a good time to get sick during the holidays. There's Sandra. Good morning, Sandra. Okay, and people have guests arriving. All right, so now just to make this quick and easy, I'm going to mix up a very strong green, kind of a full strength green, and I'm going to get that in my shadows. There's a nice rich accent, and I can pay a little more attention to the direction that these points are going in the shape. Now the watercolors will dry a little bit lighter than how they look when you first paint them. So I may, after I give my sketch here a chance to dry, I may go back in. I might do a little bit of glazing over top. So it's not completely finished, but I think that there's enough information here that that will hopefully inspire you to do a beautiful little holly study on maybe a Christmas card for somebody special. I'm so glad that I have holly growing in my garden, and I can use it to paint with during the winter. The mistletoe grows in much warmer places, and I've heard stories of people in Texas shooting down branches of trees to drop the mistletoe. So if any of my Texas viewers are out there have ever participated in a mistletoe roundup, let me know. I think that's kind of hilarious. Also, by the time the mistletoe gets harvested and shipped all the way across the country here, it's usually in pretty rough shape. I think they put something on it, and it's got this weird kind of a preservative, and it's all dried up, so it really doesn't resemble what it looks like in nature very much. And that's where the photo reference comes in, of course, to get those nice plump berries and leaves. Alright, so let's just put a little accent on the stem. So I'm mixing up my darkest dark now, starting with a dark, rich blue violet, and just kind of using what's ever on my palette to tone that down a little bit. And because I have the light coming from one direction, that's going to dictate where my shadows are. Well, I think that'll do it for now. And that just took about a little half an hour or so if I wasn't talking. And actually I see a spot. Let's just fix this. There we go. All right, I'm going to zoom you out a little bit so you can see what the page looks like. So there it is. Okay, a sweet little holly decoration in the corner of the page. You could leave it just as is, and that would make a lovely decoration in your journal. You could write all around it. You could add your other specimens and make a beautiful corner motif. Decorate the whole page. Make a border all around, whatever you like, whatever you have time for. So I hope you had fun. I hope that this has been a nice little break from your holiday preparations. I'm looking outside and everything's gone all misty and beautiful here. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think I'm going to go outside and take a picture so that you can see that. It looks so pretty with this mist rolling in. All right, everybody, have a beautiful Thanksgiving, and I will be back on, I might pop in on Saturday for Studio Live. I'm not sure, but let's see how the plans go. And if not, I'll be back next week for Watercolor Wednesday. I'm taking tomorrow off, so no paper crafting Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. But next week we'll have a full week. And I've got loads of things to share with you. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.